This is round two of the Cornerstone event that we played at Portland, Oregon at the Portland Games Store. It was 5 rounds of Swiss and a top 8 cut. The top of the screen Druid player is Kirian, and the bottom of the screen is Stew, also playing Druid. There were a lot of Druids on the field in Portland for this Cornerstone. This was our second Cornerstone event, and probably the last Cornerstone event for us for 2025. Kieran, I think going second. We were playing with second player Seer rules, so he's just looking at that card on his spellbook and deciding to keep it there. Stew, turn 1, summoning Tawny, passing turn. Kieran getting a color out of space, turn 1 on his home site, summoning Tawny, passing turn. Spell for turn for Stew, tapping on the second site, River of Flame, and then not moving Tawny up. Being a little more defensive since he is on the play. So he doesn't want to open himself up to potentially getting immediately desert pinged off the board, maybe. Kieran tapping for a second sight now. It's a pond. You got a little ramp into Lugbog, which is a classic combo for that. So turn 2 gets a 4-power minion on the board, and then advancing Tawny up. Stew getting a desert out for turn 3 with the ping to remove Tawny. And then Red Cap Poweries for a trade with the Lugbog Cat. So that's a little unfortunate for Kieran. That was a very strong turn 2. And he's moving on to his turn 3. So playing a Valley Delight, calling Fire. So he now has 2 threshold for fire, 2 threshold for water. And then air and earth thresholds as well from the color out of space. 3 mana for turn, gets Tawny again. 3 mana for turn. See a couple things poking out of his hand. Looks like he has the Disintegrate, which is great to have early game. Looks like he has a Monstrous Lion. He can't quite cast that here yet, or he's not really also in a good situation to cast that with. I potentially see, is it maybe that was an Atlantean Fate? Another super powerful card if that's what he has in his hand for a mid to late game. Stew, tapping to draw a sight. So choosing to stay at 3 mana for his turn 4. 3 for a Kobolds to take care of Tawny. He might have felt more comfortable not drawing a sight for turn to play a sight on turn 4, just because he had some plays already in mind for turn 4 that only cost 3 mana, such as the Kobolds. Kieran, beginning his turn, choosing what to draw. He's drawing a spell for turn. He's tapping the draw a sight. So Kieran also not playing a sight for his 4th turn, and mirroring Stew with a Kobold to strike the other Kobold to take care of that off of the board. Passing turn back. The kobold isn't really in a super great position for Kirian. It does need something to be able to strike on his next turn. He would be able to summon a Tawny, perhaps, and get that into a position where he could strike that and sacrifice Tawny to keep the kobolds alive. Stew making the decision for him, though, and just playing a Violamp to remove the kobolds with the Genesis ability. So both players playing some very efficient low to the ground minions here, getting a lot of value off of those trades. Kirian getting his 4th sight out here on turn 5, a Joyous Guard, played on the back row in a very good defensive sight cluster, a square of sights there. Attacking with the Monstrous Lion. Monstrous Lion for 4 mana with charge to remove the Violamp. So a pretty good play for Kirian. Tawny with that Lance. So he's got a play lined up here. Moving Tawny, dropping the Lance. Saracen Raiders to pick it up and attack the Lion. Striking first with the Lance. So Lance will break, but it will remove the Monstrous Lion. So great response from Stew with the pieces that he had on the board there. Tapping his Druid to draw a sight, and then passing turn. Kirian now with a new threat on board that he has to answer here. He drew a spell for turn. Spell for turn, 4 mana base. He's got Tawny, but Tawny's all the way on the back row there. Tawny is in a good position to be a spell caster origin point if Kirian has any spells to help take care of what's on the board here. Tapping the Druid for sight. Choosing to use the Disintegrate early on the Saracen. Passing turn. I'm not sure if I necessarily would have used the Disintegrates at that point in time. I think maybe Stew pinging Tawny off the board again with the Desert. I think I don't know what else Kirian had in his hand. Maybe he felt a lot of some pressure that turn to be mana efficient and at least make a play. But the Saracen and Tawny were the only things on the board at that time. Life totals for the game are still both 20. I think Kirian had a little bit more time to come up with a different solution for that, and Disintegrate is such a powerful removal spell. I feel frequently there are probably better targets for it than a 3-power minion. And after you take advantage of the charge ability from Saracen, it's essentially just a vanilla 3 on the board. Stew getting a Siege Giant on the board here. And then attacking Tawny with a Trinket, showing Kirian that he has a Trinket in his hand. Kirian's still digging for spells from a spell book. Tapping for a Troll Bridge. Unfortunately, not the best position for the Troll Bridge at this point. Yeah, there could have been some more, like Troll Bridge, I think maybe where the Valley of Delight was a couple turns ago would maybe have been a little bit better placement for it. Just gives it more defensive value. Getting the Tawny summon off of the Troll Bridge, though. 3 mana to play a Dragonette's. Dragonette's will shoot projectile and kill Tawny at the end of turn. Paying another mana for a Plague of Frogs. And he does have three water threshold for that. He's gonna get 7 frog tokens on the board here. So the frog tokens also can be summoned anywhere on the board. That is a key feature that is often overlooked by players. They think you have to just like choose a site and then like all 7 tokens end up on whatever site. But they can be summoned anywhere on the board that you want, and typically you want them on your own sites to be defensive. And if they are on water sites, because they have submerge, you can summon them submerged, or you can summon them above the site on top of it. So it looks like Kirian just doing a final shuffle here. You get 7. You get 7 of those tokens. So he's just figuring out where to put them all. Yeah, and he's just doing a little cleanup here. He's on top of Troll Bridge, Pond. They're both water sites, so he can choose to do some submerges, and that's what he's going to do. And then just redistribute slightly. So end of turn, like I said before, the projectile fires and Tawny will die. Stew drawing a spell for turn. So he's got 7 tokens on the board now, which are going to hamper him. He has that siege giant in play, but there's just a lot of blockers, a lot of blockers on the board right now. Oh, what's this? He's playing a fire breathing, and he's playing the fire breathing from the River of Flame as the origin point. So because he's playing it there, he's going to do 4 points of damage onto the site that the Colicky is on, and then burst out like 1 point of damage to each of those adjacent sites, which is enough to like a lot of those frogs were above ground, so everything's gonna get incinerated. It's gonna remove that. It's gonna remove his Tawny token. It's like almost the perfect board clear for him there. Tapping for a site. He still has the siege giant too. I think he can attack in the siege giant for 4 points this turn. And then just last point of mana there for the trinket that he already had in hand. Attacking for 5 points with the siege giant. This is unfortunate for Kirian that Stew had that card in his hand, and then also just had the River of Flame up there in that position, in that perfect position to go ahead and just AoE everything out off the field. Kirian choosing spell, draw a spell for sight. 5 sights, 5 mana for turn. Tapping Druid to draw a sight. So still 5 mana is mana pool to come up with some solutions here. Ideally, he's able to take care of that siege giant this turn. If not, like I said, like Sea Giant 4 power, swinging for 4. He's already at 12. We're swinging for 5 potentially because we know he has that Torse Hammer trinket in his hands through his hand. So if he can't come up with a blocker or remove that piece from the board, like 5 points of damage minimum per turn on the next turn, he's like 2 to 3 turns away from door. There's Atlantean Fate. 5 mana for the Atlantean Fate. It is going to turn off the River of Flame. And more importantly for Kirian right now, it is going to remove the Siege Giant to give him a little bit of breathing room and buy him a little bit more time here. So that was all 5 of his mana. This is going to pass back to Stew here. And they were just doing a little bit of cleanup, doing a little bit of discussion over kind of what happens to those affected sites under the Atlantean Fate. So Atlantean Fate affects non-ordinary sites. So it does tag the River Flame, but the desert would retain its threshold and things like that. It doesn't super matter for Stew's deck here. He's running a mono fire druid deck, so he's got plenty of threshold. Like he really only needs 2 threshold in most cases, and then maybe there's 1 or 2 cards in the deck where he would require 3 for. I think like Morgana Le Fay is in there, Immolation is in there. Those are the only 2 that I can think of off the top of my head that are 3 fire thresholds that he's running. I don't know the ins and outs of his specific deck fully, so there might be another surprise in there that I'm not thinking of. But those are the 2 big ones that are 3 that I can think of. I guess also maybe like Fields of Camelon if you're counting sites with a threshold requirement, so the 3 fire Genesis on the site. Still plotting out his turn. I don't know if he was thinking about playing a site out. It looks like he has a sinkhole in his hand. Yeah, he's gonna play the sinkhole. He's gonna bring in the 6 mana. Sinkhole is only in range to remove the Troll Bridge. Six mana is a lot of 6 mana is a lot of mana for turn that Stew can make use of here. Three for Kobold, 3 for Red Cap Poweries. The Red Caps will deal 3 points. End of turn, the Kobolds are going to strike that frog. Or he could swing the frog with Taunt if he wants. Or he's gonna pop the sinkhole. He's gonna pop the sinkhole, destroy the Troll Bridge, and then pass turn, strike the frog with the Kobold. So you pop the sinkhole that turn to keep killing down on mana. I think Stew feels like he's pressing advantage at this point, so he wants to keep killing. Limited in what his responses are going, what his responses can be on his next turn, just to minimize the chance that Kellen has to will have to stabilize the board and kind of start swinging back here. So Kieran beginning his turn with 4 mana. Again, just facing down some more threats on the board. He did blow up that troll bridge, even if he could get the kobolds onto the troll bridge easily on his next turn. The kobolds are in a difficult position right now, unless Stew has a way to cheat them over across onto, say, like that pond, for example. If he had, say, a siege giant, another siege giant in his hand, he could play the siege giant out and throw the kobolds over. Then the kobolds could be hitting for potentially, I want to say six points of damage if he has the trinket. So you would trinket the kobold would attack the site for 3, and then end of turn they would strike the druid they're then adjacent to for another 3. And that's if he can get it over there onto that site. I didn't get a good look at his hand earlier, so I don't know what Stu has in his hand to do that. Kieran playing that desert, pinging the red caps for 1, getting a tawny back. Summoning another monstrous lion, swinging in, or summoning a monstrous lion, swinging in to remove the red caps, which is great. Removes a dangerous threat from the board. He can't continue to take. Even 3 points of damage per turn is starting to get dangerous, especially when you're at 9 life. You're below the halfway point there to door. Pass turn back to Stew, and we get to see what Stew is working on here with the kobolds. If the kobolds can't get over to the pond on this turn, they can stick around for another turn if Stew is willing to sacrifice Tawny. So the kobolds have to strike something at the end of turn when you pass it. If there are no other legal targets adjacent to them, they have to strike themselves. So Stu is thinking pretty hard about kind of what the positioning is going to be here, I think. Just trying to plan out his play. I'm trying to take a peek at what he has in his hand. I know he has the Torse Hammer. He's got three cards in hand. Kieran looks like he has a minor explosion in his hand, so that's a very useful card to have to help him gain control of the board. Oh, Stu didn't realize that Stu did not realize that the turn had passed, so they were just kind of each sitting there contemplating the game in silence. Oh, Stu didn't have the Siege Giant, but he just drew into it for turn. Tapping for a site. There's the Siege Giant. That's going to get him out of the jam. I don't know what he was going to do, or what he was thinking about doing if he didn't draw into that on this turn there. But man, what a lucky top deck draw there for turn. Because that's gonna, yeah, like I said, that's a 6-point swing. End of turn, it strikes for another 3. not only that, but yeah, but being thrown to pond and then attacking to color out of space from pond. It's not even in range for Kirian to take care of it with the monstrous lion. It's out of position. And he can't really leave the kobold there just because he the kobold is going to take him to the door, and if he leaves that piece on the board and can't deal with it, it can still strike him for 3 points of damage at the end of Stew's next turn once he is on door. Kirian playing a funeral pyre. To go back up to 6 mana. I don't know if he has something in his hand that he needs all the mana for. He's gonna trade a warhorse into the kobolds to solve that problem. 4 mana left on turn. He's gonna move Monstrous Lion, swing Tawny up onto one of Stew's deserts for a point of damage. I think he's still 4 mana left in his mana pool. 4 for Saracen Raider, just to put more pressure on Stew. 3 points of damage in. So I think that was that was all his mana. Passing turn. Stew with just what he has on board here with the Torse Hammer Tawny, he can do 2 points of damage. He needs another solution to bring Kirian to door on this turn. He does have a handful of cards, so I think it's pretty likely that he has a way to push Kirian to door on this turn. I think the card that he drew into his hand, the spell, is a Monstrous Lion. So he could play a slower game here and not take him to door. Do something like play out the Monstrous Lion, Torse Hammer Trinket it, and then attack into and remove Kieran's Monstrous Lion. And then be in position to threaten his avatar next turn with his own Monstrous Lion on the pond. And then attack Tawny for a point of damage. There's still 2 more points that he has to deal. And then reposition the Siege Giant somewhere. Either move it up to the rubble site or move it over to the River of Flame. I don't know what they're doing right now. Oh, Stew. Stew is answering a question that one of his neighbors had, not related to this game. The vibe for this tournament, I'd like to think that the vibe for our local community here in Portland is pretty relaxed. We're pretty friendly, casual. So I mean, we like to play tournaments, but we like to play friendly tournaments, and play a competitive game, but keep it friendly, and just kind of helping each other out by looking out for each other's games, answering questions, things like that. Stew, also like a relatively new player in the past couple months here in our community, but has quickly kind of become absorbed in the sorcery lifestyle, and has risen to be kind of one of the rules aficionados in our community, which is great because we don't have a ton of people that that are really into the rules, really want to dig into the sorcerer rules. So every time we get another player that wants to make that their passion, only serves to help our entire community. Stew tapping is Druid. He's got a sight in his hand. He's going to play Rift Valley. So he's going to Rift Valley. He's going to Rift Valley that row apart. Rift Valley now directly in front of Kieran's avatar. Yeah, moving, attacking Tawny in for 1 point of damage. And then Torsammer Trinket onto the Siege Giant, who is now in position for the Lion, thanks to the Rift Valley, to kill the Lion. But Stew, I think, forgetting that there was a submerged frog token down there, so the frog token's going to block the Siege Giant. And then, unfortunately for Kieran, excuse me, the Stew's monstrous lion is going to charge in and bring him to door on this turn. Kieran definitely in trouble. Tawny presents a problem here. He can flip, which is what he's going to do. He really has to flip to get Bruin. Bruin can at least prevent the damage from incoming attacks. He really needs to also find a way to remove the monstrous lion this turn, Stew's monstrous lion. Otherwise, I think it's checkmate as is on the board right now. Just because Stew could attack into Bruin. Stew could attack into Bruin with the monstrous lion, trade there, and then just swing Tawny into Kieran's Druid for the last strike on door. Kieran's hand not looking great. He's got a minor explosion, which is good. He's got a jihad. Jihad will allow him to boost the power on his own monstrous lion, attacking in and removing the Siege Giant, which is great. Geyser for 2. He's cycling, and I think he lucked into something that's going to help him here. So that was the card that he top decked from that draw, which is just what he needed to kill the monstrous lion. Stew unfortunately has the solution: fire breathing onto Tawny to remove Bruin, and then attacking in for that last strike on door. So that was round 2. We'll move to round 3 next.